ask people what questions do they want me to ask you, the candidates. And there were two questions that kept coming up.
Sure.
One was about data centers. That's a topic that we are dealing with now.
Hmm.
I know in the General Assembly, I don't know if y'all had any
We
legislation
have.
around data centers, but what is your position on data centers and how communities should deal with them?
Let me tell you the legislation that we took up this year, by the way, on data centers. Senate Bill 34 was the first bill that had bipartisan support in the General Assembly. That bill would have passed easily, by the way. Um, Soon it was on the calendar. We were getting ready to vote on it. Then all of a sudden, the lieutenant governor called us to order and essentially dismissed us for the day. We was That bill would have passed, Senate Bill 34, and in that bill, it basically said that Georgia Power and the big mega corporations, by the way, cannot bill the homeowners for their power bills can't go up, and the cost of building these data centers cannot be passed on to the homeowners, by the way. And that's essentially what's been happening with the data centers. Before we signed it died, we passed Senate Bill 410. If you look at Senate Bill 410, the Republicans went back and gutted Senate Bill 34, stripped out all of the language, and in Senate Bill 410, and I spoke to Noel on this particular issue, by the way, when they gutted out, they put language in there that says essentially the state of Georgia has intent that these costs would not be passed on. And my comments from the well of the Senate said, we are, in the state of Georgia, is better than this. The only thing that we can offer up homeowners who's concerned about their property values, who's concerned about their resources being used and consumed by massive data centers. As we know, they need lots of land, they need lots of water to cool those servers that they have in these particular locations. And yet the only thing that we could offer them from the state of Georgia with a $70 billion budget, by the way, and essentially authority over the entire state was intent. And that word does have legal meaning, as you know. It essentially said you don't have to do anything. That's the way I interpret intent. And that was the biggest disappointment for me this legislative session when we punted on data centers. I was at a meeting last night with one of the candidates running for governor over in DeKalb County, and we were hosting a town hall meeting about data centers. It's quite clear, certainly in the 13th district, because there's plans to build more data centers, particularly over there in Rockdale County, where they're actually actively searching for land. And my position on data centers is clear. The homeowners should not bear the cost. The community should not bear the cost of whatever resources these data centers use. We need to make these data centers environmentally friendly. We should put solar panels on them to provide and the electricity they need, because you know they consume a lot of electricity, and some data centers are already doing that. And we need to make sure that whatever taxes are being paid locally, by the way, that the homeowners get the benefit from the resources and, of course, the tax payments that are being generated by these data centers. The other thing that was gutted out of Senate Bill 34 that was put in the Senate Bill 410 essentially said, okay, we're not going to subsidize, the state of Georgia is not going to continue these big subsidies for construction of these data centers. I'm an engineer. I started my career with IBM. I understand technology and how much it's grown, particularly with the advent of AI. That's been around for a while, by the way, but it's certainly taken off astronomically. That resource is needed, but as an elected official, we have a responsibility to protect the homeowners. We have a responsibility to protect the natural resources of the community. We get to tell Google and others and Amazon how to build these data centers rather than them telling us. And I'm afraid with the Republican administration, that's exactly what's going on. The Amazons, the Southern companies, and the Googles are telling the Republicans how they want to build these data centers rather than the other way around.